Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Ryan Wood. I am the Director of Customer Success here at Pragma Edge. Good to see the count over 100 today. We're pleased to have everybody join us today. For those who don't know me, I am a former IBMer. I've worked with the Sterling products for many, many years, serving as a product manager for a lot of those years before moving to Pragma Edge. And Pragma Edge is an IBM Premier Business Partner. Today, we'll go into transforming B2B and managed file transfer with Sterling software with AI. We want to showcase what the groundbreaking tool that we've introduced from Pragma Edge IANN and underpinning the Watsonx GenAI. So who are we? A little bit of a background of our company. We've been in business for over 11 years. I've known Pragma Edge for many of those years, going back to my role within IBM. We are a true blue shop. We operate predominantly in the B2B and managed file transfer space with IBM Sterling. We've also recently launched a Maximo practice and have been visionaries in the Watsonx AI journey. If you go out to the Watsonx website, which I encourage you all to do that, there's a lot of good free training out there. You'll see Pragma Edge's logo prominently displayed as a launch partner with Watsonx. So what you're about to see today is many years in the making of machine learning, artificial intelligence, and bringing those all together. We operate across all industries, from financial to retail to insurance and healthcare. We are humbled to run some of the world's largest and most complex workflows on our systems, partnering with IBM. As you can see, we're in every single industry, practically in every single corner of the globe. So a little bit about who we are. Today's agenda, we want to dig into some of the challenges in the B2B and managed file transfer space. And my role, one of my favorite parts of the job is interacting with you all. And one of the things that I really take a lot of pride in is really studying the market. And we'll take a look at some of the key challenges in the B2B and managed file transfer space. We'll also look and hope to hear from you on how you see AI addressing these issues. ChatGPT certainly is all the rage, and I think a lot of folks now have that understanding of AI and natural language processing. So we're going to dig in and how we can take advantage of those, not just for your kids' homework, but to take advantage of Sterling and Sterling software. Then we'll dive into what is IANN. IANN stands for Intelligent Artificial Neural Network. It is based on Watsonx, as we'll talk about, an embedded solution. We'll cover its core capabilities, from collaborating with your trading partners and your internal line of business users to automating some of those manual, nasty day-to-day tasks that you have to do in the software. And we'll look at intelligent assistants that can feed and drive your help desk and really help your non-technical users, whether they be internal or external, collaborate with your system. Next, we'll deep dive into some of the capabilities around end-to-end file visibility, proactive system performance, taking all this data and correlating it in large language models to work around AI. We'll review some of the personas that you typically will see in the B2B and managed file transfer space, and that'll set us up for a live demo. So we have an action-packed hour here, so let's go ahead and get started. So Sterling B2B and MFT with AI, are you ready for the next leap? So again, welcome everybody to this pivotal discussion on the future of digital transactions. Some of today's challenges at talking to customers, really the thing that I hear the most is certainly around complexity. And as your digital ecosystems expand, as your volumes increase, as your partners and suppliers increase, and the volume of transactions, those data flows become truly crucial. That is the gold that is available within your organization to help you build actionable insights and scale your business. How do we mine that gold and really take advantage of those that visibility to make those decisions? Also, we can't ignore the security risks. This is something that we've been talking about for many years, but as you probably have seen, especially in the B2B and managed file transfer space, with the rise in data breaches, ensuring secure file transfers and safeguarding sensitive information is paramount. Had a lot of conversations with you all about how even AI handles sensitive information. So some great questions that we'll dive into today. And then certainly all about operational efficiency. How can we achieve greater efficiency around our B2B and managed file transfers with all these growing demands on the system? And let's face it, with limited resources, budget, workforce that is aging out around these mature products. So how do we train the next generation of B2B and managed file transfer experts? We have to evolve, and how we evolve is really around automation and AI integration. So how can we automate repetitive tasks and integrate AI to manage workflows more intelligently and efficiently? How do we do this with freeing up your team to focus on more operational and day-to-day business activities that drive business value instead of monitoring the system 24/7 like a hawk and being able to take manual integration on failed workflows? How can we take all that data and turn it into real-time analytics using AI? How can we enhance our decision making and and predict issues before they escalate into production? Those are some of the use cases that we're going to dive into today. And I know a lot of folks are on their cloud-based journey. So as the shift moves towards cloud-based, whether that be a private cloud, modernization, upgrading to latest releases, you'll see how this enhances your scalability and flexibility with the key of reducing your operational costs. So here's our take, and certainly we want to hear from you of where you see B2B and MFT as a whole and where you can see efficiencies perhaps from AI. So certainly AI's role, we see that predictive analytics. So we are using AI to predict trends and behaviors in B2B transactions. Those can be file based anomalies. So looking at file patterns, sizes, volumes, authentication, who's logging into our systems. Are there anomalies as the system learns over time to help you predict trends and ebb and flow of the environment so you can scale efficiently? How can we be proactive around system performance? If the CPU is spiked and the 9 queues within Sterling are consumed, we obviously don't want to unleash a lot of manual activities in an automated fashion. So how can we do this in a more intelligent way? How can we learn from previous errors and be able to resolve those issues automatically in the future? And that's certainly where intelligent routing and optimization comes in. So using these algorithms, we can optimize data routing processes, improving speed and really detecting anomalies in file transfers, as I mentioned, around those patterns. If you typically expect X amount of files from a customer daily, and that's what the system is trained on, and all of a sudden you don't hear from them for a few days, come to find out their systems go down and then they unleash thousands and thousands of files on you. I've been in support. I've been on these calls with you. This can be detected as an anomaly and really slow down that threat. And that certainly leads to compliance automation. So AI tools enhance certainly compliance about putting best practices around security, but also can integrate with partner management solutions like Partner Engagement Manager to automate certificate renewals, password updates, and regulatory adjustments as they're ever evolving. So let's hear from you in the chat, if you would. What is one aspect of your current B2B and MFT processes that you believe AI could significantly improve? You'll see kind of our take. We've launched this product, as you'll see here, very recently with some out-of-the-box capabilities. We have a very rich roadmap as well of things that we want to automate with AI, but nothing's like hearing it directly from our customers and users. So if you have any thoughts on where you see AI potentially enhancing your B2B and MFT processes, feel free to drop those in the chat, especially as we move along during today's session. So we've said Gen AI, generative AI a few times. What is Gen AI and really why does it matter? So Gen AI is a type of AI that can automatically create content and make decisions. It helps automate complex tasks, certainly a complex environment like B2B and managed file transfer systems that typically require human interaction. What you'll see is IANN incorporates Gen AI to quickly analyze data, make smart decisions, and really tailor services to individual needs as it learns about your business, helping you to adapt and thrive in a dynamic markets. As I mentioned, what is IANN? IANN is designed for targeted B2B and managed file use cases that unlock new value, and we're going to dig into that a little bit further. The foundation is embedded with Watsonx. This is really one of the key features of the product. Not only have we partnered with Watsonx, we've also bundled Watsonx capability with the solution. So there's no need to have multiple purchases or reaching out to multiple groups for support. It is embedded with Watsonx. It's built with really IBM's strength around governance, transparency, and ethics that support increasing regulatory compliance demands. So we partner with IBM on the security and the handling of sensitive data. The core capabilities, as we discussed, focus on collaboration with your partners, automation, and driving insight for smarter business. Some of the other pieces that you kind of see around Watsonx, and really how that enhances B2B and managed file transfer use cases. The one I'll call out specifically is around natural language process driven interaction with an intelligent IANN assistant chatbot. This is where the chat GPT like interaction comes in, being able to interact with a chatbot that's trained on your practices, whether that be onboarding, whether that be maintenance activities, and being able to interact with a intelligent chatbot that knows about these processes and can answer questions and guide you through workflows. This is ideal for non-technical users that don't have experience with typical EDI or MFT type experiences. So not only can this free up your help desk, it's also available 24/7 so your partners can interact with the systems with self-service. It's also very helpful for those that are familiar with AI and want to automate tasks around how many files do I process daily, and really interact with the system to be your extension of your team, another resource that you have to consult with on errors and issues in the system. Certainly, the goal is to reduce errors. So as we implement AI-driven errors to handle reducing transaction errors, which can improve reliability and customer satisfaction. Think about in B2B integrator as if you have an outage or there's some sort of issue that occurs in the system and you have business processes that go into a halted state. We know that's a very manual process of going through and actually reviewing those. I've been on production down calls with customers, and there's hundreds, perhaps thousands of business processes that need to be restarted. And a lot of times you can't just take a hammer and just do a terminate and restart. You have to look at the business process to understand where the error happened. So if you're not catching it with on faults appropriately, that is a big cleanup activity where typically you have 2 or 3 team members taking different numbers of business processes. You take the first 100, I'll take the second 100, and we'll work down and reduce that count. Well, now with AI, what you'll see is we learn about these errors. We can take proactive system automation around handling these errors, whether it's restarting, whether it's reaching out and grabbing a new SFTP SSH key, checking it in, and restarting the communication. You'll see the art of the possible here today. And that's really what I hear a lot from customers, is certainly around that automation. So using all of this can really drive and improve customer experience, not only for those users of the product, those that you're supporting in your line of business, but also your trading partners or your customers. So let's take a look a little bit deeper dive into IANN. So as we dive into IANN and how it really empowers your business with self-service and advanced data skills using AI, really where we kind of see is highlighting several different integration points. So first of that is really engaging with your partners or line of business users, and that's around partner onboarding, partner management, transaction status, self-service. So think about the activities that need to be done when you're onboarding new clients onto the platform. Or if you're looking at doing testing with your partner, how can you automate that and really drive intelligent chat GPT-like interaction? So by leveraging tools like Partner Engagement Manager or partnering with your own, I know a lot of you have built your own self-service onboarding portal that maybe be driven by APIs. IANN can latch itself onto that process and elevate by automating partner onboarding and management, drastically reducing the effort and time required for these processes. It supports transaction status monitoring, so your partners can connect to it automatically and check the status of their file transfers. And it also can do automated issue resolution, which are critical for maintaining smooth partner relationships. You'll see an example of that here today. Looking at automation, as we look into automation around partner and transaction management, and this is really where I see a lot of value for those folks that have to administer the systems day in and day out around connection failures, EDI failures. Think about connection failure or EDI failures, that is, whether you're using the Sterling mapper or ITX. Some of those errors that come out of the mapper are really low level, system level. And we'll kind of see, especially as we bring new folks on board that may not have that rich experience and tribal knowledge around resolving these issues, we can correlate that and translate it into natural language or human readable with intelligence to tell you exactly what's wrong with the data. And if you wish to automate the resolution of it, we'll go into an example a little later around EDI. The system also has capabilities around file monitoring and file alerting, so intelligent SLA management. If you're about to breach certain service level agreements that you have put in place, you can be escalated and be able to respond to that proactively. I've heard from a lot of customers that one of the biggest challenges they have is getting too many emails. One of the features that the product has is not only emailing your team when there's issues occurring in the system, whether it be a breach of SLA, file not received alerts, or proactive performance monitoring, is that you get inundated by emails. One ticket could turn into hundreds, and then which one do you prioritize? That's a common problem that we see. And we use AI to help adjust those frequency and be able to raise critical alerts appropriately so you can respond to actually what needs your attention. And then all about the assistance. I would love to have this tool if I was in your shoes working with the product day in and day out. My experience with many years in the support organization, working with you all side by side, this is the critical information that you want to have at your fingertips. So not only is it file history around end-to-end file visibility, we take that data from Sterling and pull that into our own database and be able to query it. So as you keep your timelines tight around how long you keep your data retention, you can have that data for long periods of time and be able to drive insights around that, around patterns and directions and anomaly alerts. What type of tuning do I need to make? I've seen more influx of data coming in via SFTP. Perhaps I need to launch another adapter. Perhaps I need to increase the number of threads. You'll see as we look into the queues within Sterling, we see that you're noticing that your Q4s are overwhelmed while your other 8 queues are sitting by idle. How do we take advantage of that and split out business processes to take advantage of the available capacity of the system? These are all great pieces to not only troubleshoot issues when they occur from root cause analysis, but also proactively making you aware of these before they actually escalate into a production down. And you get that dreaded page at 2 a.m. at Saturday at the system crashed. Be able to resolve these automatically is a big piece of what we're discussing today. So we see it bringing immense value to our customers by enhancing that efficiency, reducing costs, and improving service quality. So not only can you engage more effectively with your partners, ease the burden on your team that does onboarding and management, but also we can reduce the risk of disruptions from EDI and MFT failures. And most importantly, really improve system health and make sure that we're proactive around security standards. Let's take a look a little bit about what builds IANN. So at its core, some of you may be familiar with our tools, File, GPS, and Jarvis. We actually did a fantastic webinar not too long ago with one of our premier customers, Zoetis. We have the link for that we can pop in the chat for that recording, which goes into the operational efficiency of File, GPS, and Jarvis. At its core, File GPS is around file visibility, end-to-end file visibility with detailed audit trails. Not only can it track the file movements within the Sterling ecosystem, it can also be extended to other platforms. I know a lot of customers will separate their EDI from their MFT, and it can track multiple systems, whether that be ERP systems like SAP or ServiceNow, whether that be handoffs from MQ and Kafka, or using a competitive solution. You want to have that end-to-end flow, and IANN surrounds itself around your entire B2B and MFT ecosystem. It gives you rich dashboarding and reporting out of the box with partner performance metrics. Who's generating the most errors and who do you need to work with to resolve that? Wrap AI around that, and you have an incredible solution to be able to provide incredible detail around your organization with ChatGPT-like interaction with the Watsonx chatbot and providing real-time predictive analytics and anomaly detection around those file patterns. Next, consider the system visibility. So system visibility is all about being able to handle um, all the data that surrounds both the application and the operating system. So not only can it raise proactive system performance monitoring of IBM Sterling applications, whether that be secure proxy, file gateway, B2B integrator, connect direct, giving you insights into adapter status and the performance of those applications from a CPU, memory, JVM perspective. It can also dig in real time into the memory of the JVM, the status of the queues, looking at the database performance, and also correlating and visualizing your logs. Think about all the stuff that we can do with mining those logs around authentication. So looking at authentication logs and security logs. One of the big feedbacks that I get is that there's a lot of breadcrumbs in the system with Sterling File Gateway and B2B Integrator. And what I mean by that is that you can really have everything that you need is not always in one spot. There's not one report that you can run that can show end-to-end SFTP type reporting, from who's logging in to what algorithm you're using and how much data and file volume they processed. Well, with the capabilities around file and system visibility, we can pull that all together by correlating logs, running queries from the database in an efficient manner, and really subscribing in a pub sub model to events in the system. We take all of that at its core and run that through our AI systems. Well, and kind of as we talk about Ian, we certainly understand that maybe not all customers or may not be ready to fully integrate AI, whether it's something that you still need to go through from an operational standpoint. We still offer what we call Ian Core, which is File GPS and Jarvis, which provides solid file and system monitoring solutions without the use of AI. However, as your business expands, you can easily add on the AI capabilities. So it truly is meant to scale with flexible licensing options for your business. Let's talk a little bit how it fits into the ecosystem. So as I kind of mentioned, we do monitor the entire Sterling Data Exchange suite of software. From everything that you're running from the Sterling platform, all of that visibility, status, health is all provided from a file and system visibility enriched with AI. At its core, we're also using the Watsonx capabilities that are embedded within the solution. Watsonx AI, Watsonx Assistant, and Orchestrate. As we tie all that together, Ian brings that all together into a single pane of glass, enhanced with AI. We also could pull in from client enterprise systems. So as I kind of mentioned, this could be trading partner data, client data, or other applications. A lot of you have built third-party databases to drive additional visibility into the system. Maybe you've created APIs around that or taking some advantage of some of the new features in Sterling B2B Integrator 6.2. We can take all that data from other systems and drive the same type of visibility around predictive analytics, detailed audit trails, and file and system anomaly detections. And all of this is provided with governance and role-based access. You control who has access to what data. So what we're talking about here today, we're going to lay the foundation here for the demo in just a moment, and we're going to launch into that. What we'd like to do as a part of this is offer a free trial or free demo to our customers. So whether it be these use cases that maybe you've resonated, or maybe there's a few in the chat that may spur some conversation, let's get together with a 30-minute conversation. Let's talk about some of the challenges in the system, and let's go over some of the use cases that you have. We can tailor the Ian demos to your use cases, so you can see it firsthand and really see the value before moving into a commercialization and purchase of the product. Okay, so let's set the stage. We kind of have a background now of Ian and kind of how it interacts with the Sterling ecosystem. So let's really talk about some of the personas that we typically see, and really will set up the demo. So first, meet Lisa. Lisa is a line of business user. She really is in charge of streamlining partner onboarding and partner maintenance. So she works predominantly with trading partners and suppliers and end users for onboarding capabilities into the system. Her role, while it focuses on partner onboarding and transaction, is also about EDI type validation, being able to do map tests, being able to do protocol tests before the customer is onboarded. Lisa handles these customer relationships and the critical task of these onboarding and maintenance. Traditionally, this process was slow, fraught with manual errors, something that she has to reach out to administrators very frequently, and can take weeks and often leading to compliance issues. What we'll see is with Ian's engage and collaboration type features, Lisa now automates and accelerates this process. Onboarding that once took weeks now takes days, with significant reduction in that human error, thanks to the AI-driven validation and partner setup. We also have extended self-service, not only for Lisa, for her to resolve her issues on her own, but also to her trading partners to manage their documentation, monitor their onboarding status, and enhance transparency around their file transfers. Next, let's meet Jason. Jason is a newer team member, still mastering the nuances of EDI and IBM Sterling. His day-to-day jobs are really about handling and monitoring the system from day in and day out, whether it's creating new workflows in the system, new maps. One of the things that Jason struggles with is that EDI is complex, it's very mature, and something that he is still learning about. One of the things that he can turn to AI around is really to help him with the overwhelming nature of the complexity EDI with transactions and mapping, helping generate sample maps, sample EDI data for specific data types, allowing him to do all the testing that he needs. So as he still masters these nuances, now he can use IANN to automate error handling and routine tasks. Things that continuously are frequently issues in the system around EDI failures can now be automated by preemptively identifying discrepancies in the data and automating corrections. Maybe that's just sending an email back to your trading partner and said, here's exactly what's wrong with your data, resend it. The AI-driven support boosts his confidence, allowing him to focus on learning and more strategic tasks rather than getting bogged down with repetitive issues. And I think a lot of us will fall into this camp. And next, let's meet Sarah. Sarah is the experienced Sterling administrator. She wears all these hats, from EDI administrators to system performance of around the system. With all these new trading partners that are coming on board with Lisa and Jason's enhanced capabilities, she needs to ensure that the business scales, especially around peak periods like holiday seasons for those newly onboarded partners. Using IANN's assist features, Sarah can proactively monitor system health and performance. Automated health checks are routinely ran in the system with anomaly detection to help to preempt potential issues, really maintaining system integrity and uptime. With the AI-assisted diagnostics and error resolutions, it really enables Sarah to maintain a robust Sterling environment that's always on, ensuring it scales efficiently and remains resilient. Um, I talked to a lot of customers that tell us, especially in the banking industry, if Sterling goes down, they're on the 6 o'clock news. This is really the true nature of these products that a lot of folks that maybe even within your organization don't understand the importance of these products. So keeping that together is certainly something that will help our day-to-day activities. So in closing thoughts, together with Lisa, Jason, Sarah, it really illustrates the impacts of IANN across different operational roles, from reducing onboarding times and simplifying EDI transactions to elevating and optimizing tasks that also typically provide human interaction. So with all of that in mind, let's move to our live demo to see IANN in action. What we're going to see from a scenario is really around that onboarding and maintenance activities, partner connection updates and certificate tests and file status, being able to take those errors and correlate those into more of a human readable manner. Jason deals with that day in and day out. So how can we provide him with that visibility that he needs to be able to do his job? And then finally, we'll take a look at the patterns that Sarah is really interested in around anomaly detection and file patterns, volume, and predictive system analysis and recommendations on system errors. So with those scenarios in mind, let's proceed to the live demonstration. I'm going to turn it over to Pavitar to walk us through these pieces. Pavi, over to you.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm going to share my screen. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Looks good.
Okay, so let's start with, so Ryan just explained about 3 different personas to us, right? From Lisa, Jason, Sarah, who have their different day-to-day activities that they have to perform on every day, right? So how we can assist them so they can do their job in a fast fashion, seamless way, also in a more interactive way, right? So right now I'm in a PEM screen. So what we will do here is we will run a campaign for our partner to come and do the update, certificate update or host update or anything like that, right? So this type of issue happens, a certificate got expired, we will see a lot of different file failures, right? And then in order to communicate with partner, we have to go back and forth email communications, a lot of things gets handover, right? And then we have to test and maybe those things doesn't work and we have to go back and refine those things, right? How we will do that and give partner an access like, hey, you come, and you will do the update of your partner and we will approve it based upon if it works or not. We will approve it, and this way we will not have those failures and we will have a seamless handshake from partner to internal teams, right? So what I'll quickly do is I will run one activity. I'll select the activity that I'm going to use for maintenance. I can provide for today's activity, like I'm going to do for May 15th. And part of this, if I want to make sure the partner do run this maintenance by a specific date and I want to start alerting those partners, I can set up those things. What I'll do is for this demo, I'll select one partner, but as part of, our activity, we can have multiple partners selected. I'll select it. See, I think I'll just finish this and it's ready. So what I'll do is once I run this, my partner will get an email. They will get an OTP so they can start with this specific activity. What they will get is they will get an OTP that they can use to log in into our self-service. So this is what our self-service in order for partner looks like. And from here, what they can do is they will be able to access their specific account, the Jason's persona, right? So what Jason usually do if we have to talk about it, right? So he have to work on EDI files a lot of time, right? So when it comes to those specific EDI files, it's not something which can be understandable right from scratch, right? If I open it, it will take time to read, go through the EDI file, see what's in it, right? And one of the questions in the chat is being asked, like, can we do that in a business friendly? Yes. So what we have is we have an enhanced version here, that same EDF file in something that I can just read in simple English and I can understand what's in it, right? So this is where now to understand a huge, large EDI file, I can just upload it in my, system and I'll be able to see what's in that file. I don't need to go through all that. But if in case that specific EDI file failed because of some issues, right? So Sterling map run, and it gave me some issues like this. And it's again a technical language for me to understand what this specific issue means in terms of, for a business person, if they are looking into it, they will not understand what it is. Even for me to go through this specific, I have to compare to different files. I might have to go to a spec file, see what is the standard that I'm using, and then will be able to find what is the issue and I'll be able to fix it. But now with this, what I'll be able to do is to business, I can directly send an email. Hey, you send me this file and there is this specific segment missing at this specific position. And this is a standard that we are using that you should be sending the file with. So just with the help of AI, I don't need to spend hours to understand what's in EDI file, where that specific EDI file failed, for what reason it failed, and how to resolve it. All those set of questions that I have or I have to go and research for, now AI will help me to do that and even send those emails for me to that specific partner stating that this specific EDI or this file failed because of this specific translation issues. So all those things has been clarified, and this is where we can use GenAI to automate and also help our operational team to do things faster, right? Because files is not like I'm receiving 10 files a day. The file quantity can go from thousands to 100Ks to a millions of files a day, depending upon number of partners and how busy our system is, right? So based upon that, to handle these large amount of errors, it's troublesome. So we need some automation, some help to our operation team so they can do all this in automation fashion and they can understand things in a faster way. So this is where we have bring in Gen AI for one of the use case. Now moving to the next one, right? So not just reading EDI files, but what about I have a testing team, I have to create 5, 10 different EDI files, or maybe 20, 30, based upon my requirement. I need to create those EDI files and I have to go manually in Notepad, do changes, create all those things. What if I can just ask a Gen AI to create a specific EDI file for me so I can use that in my testing? So based upon, what's based upon organization, we have our specification 5, our versions of maps that we are using. It will use those, and based upon that, it will generate those EDIs file for me. So for example, I have asked for, hey, I want a EDI file, which is 214 transaction. Please generate for me. And I want sender ID to be Pragma and receiver to be IBM. So, generative AI is able to, generate a EDI file for me. So I don't need to spend time, do all that stuff for. So I can just run this automation if I need 10 or 20 or 30. I can just have those ready. Testing team can use these files and do their testing. So this is one step closer to, one question has been asked, like how we can do a map development with that. This is one step closer to how we can do a map development. So because first understanding those specification files, understanding those EDI terminologies, EDI language, different transactions, building those EDI files. Now the next step we are jumping into is the map development as well. Now going over to the next one, right? So all these things are happening. We saw EDI files and all those things, right? Errors can be translation, but what about other errors, right? So in a system, the file can fail for multiple reasons. There might be password got expired, or user ID got changed, or non-host keys got expired, or maybe my system is busy at a particular time that I did not process my file. How I will be able to run my system, because if it's one or two files or 10 files or probably even 100 in a day, a single person can spend their whole day and be able to resolve those, 10, 50s of errors for sure. But what if a number of errors or number of file failed is a beyond the threshold that a single person can handle? What we can bring on the table for automation, right? So we have skills developed based upon decision making models and the data based upon what errors happen and how we resolve those specific errors, right? So what we have here is we can run our daily fix error based upon the timestamps, and it will fix those errors for me. The model we train will be for a specific set of errors that we handle. It will not keep on redoing if he don't know what to do. It will tell me that, hey, some errors not able to fix, manual fix is needed, like someone manually need to go and fix those specific issues, right? So to those, right, what we have is like, something like SSH known key issues, or if there is something, a regular reprocessing issues. So all those things can be automated, because we know if something on SSH needs to be automated, what steps team do in order to fix those errors. And when it comes to the regular reprocessing, if system is busy at a particular time, what they do, what particular time is a free time, right? And all this happening in an intelligent way. It's not like my system is busy early in the morning and I'll do all those reprocessing early in the morning and my system can go down. No, it will first check what are the resources available. Is we have enough CPU utilization, or queue is free, all those things. It will monitor all those different parameters and then initiate this reprocessing and these fixes, so we are not making our system go down. So
A
these
couple
are all.
questions,
Mhm.
Heavy, sorry, that I think may be relevant kind of in this demo. First of was around the onboarding activities. So as we kind of talked about, we talked about the PEM piece already, but also how does automatic EDI trading partner onboarding, how is that achieved with this portal? So I think you kind of flash partner engagement manager briefly. Maybe you kind of speak to what's available from an EDI perspective, from an onboarding perspective, maybe from the map testing to the ability to download things like specs. Can you just speak to that briefly? And then it's something that we can always demo directly with the customer.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a pretty good use case, right? Because when it comes to the EDI, it's just not like, having a connection ready and we are ready to do the, business with a partner. There is a lot of more things goes into it, right? So we already have PEM activities which handle those specific testing. And with EN, right, they can download their specification files. For example, I will be giving, whenever partner is doing a setup, we will be providing them with a specific set of specification. Hey, I'm using these 5 transactions and these are the specification files. Then they can come, they can upload their EDI file and they can test it whether that specific EDI file is successful with our map or not. So if it fails, it will give them again back in a readable format. Hey, you have given these specific incorrect segments or incorrect elements, fix it, and they will retry. They retry it, the setup will not be completed. So until they have one successful, a good file being tested, we will not have that setup being, completed for them to start doing the file transfers. So we have that already in place to, download, upload, test those all different EDIs transactions, Ryan.
Great question. And following that up, there's a couple of ones that I want to focus on. One was, can you specify the file size or how many records to generate when you're interacting with Watsonx Orchestrate?
Um, which records? Do you mean EDI files?
Yeah, like the EDI files when we're generating, can you specify how many records and kind of like customize that EDI data?
So yes, so we have our models trained. So, we have industry specific. So if you see down here, so we are not having a single one trained for all industries because all of these transactions are different. So if you see, like, for example, generate EDI, we have separate for supply chain, separate for transportation, separate for healthcare, So we have those segregation done. And for each of those, we have, based upon different versions, we have trained those models. So we have, I'll say, a data set for each of those different versions to train the model on. And then when we output it, right? So depending upon how many, so right now, if we run this skill one time, we can have a loop of like, if you want 10 files or 20 files. So even with Orchestrate, we can automate this to, generate 10, 15, 100 based upon our requirement. We can have that specific input added here, and we can automate this for like 10 iterations, 100 iterations, and make sure all of those 100 files are different, with some different changes that we want. So we can prompt it based upon how we want it. So
Great. I think that answers the question kind of around, there was a question around an 834, and can AI handle unique identifiers? So it sounds like with the training that is available with the skills that we built, you can handle custom cases with unique identifiers.
yeah, so I think 834 will come under healthcare. So uh, we have that package as well. And, based upon the, what identifiers and how we want to handle those specific, for example, I want to say like, add this segment like this, or have these many elements, or like, this will be the version, or this will be the timestamp, or like, in any specific identifier codes, if we want, we can add those, prompt those, and model will be generating those based upon what we have asked it to. So. Okay. I'll quickly go over the next persona, right? Sarah, right? Sarah handles the anomalies, right? On system, on files, we are expecting files from multiple partners, right? So how we will be able to proactive on that means if I'm expecting some files from a partner and I want to make sure I receive it. And if I'm expecting 10 files, I don't want that partner to send me 100,000 files and my system goes down. How we set up a process before we process those 100K files and my system just go down and I affected another 1,000 partners for me. How we will handle that, and based upon the approvals, we will build those, right? So with anomaly detection, I'll be able to detect what partners, which pattern, and on what frequency they are sending files, and they have not sent me files, right? So this is example of, few anomalies that we have ran into our system, and we detected those, right? We built those like we are sending files on a daily pattern, and when we did not send on a particular day, we saw those anomalies being detected. In opposite way, if we are sending only 10 files, we saw like if we send 100 files, it will detect it as an anomaly, and it will not process those 100 files until an approval process. So we have those admin controls in place to ask for approval and then process it, just to make sure someone is not trying to get into system, and they are not just going to be, putting some spam files into our system and, kind of just get into it. So this is something on the file anomalies. Similarly, what we have is on anomalies related to my performance, right? That is the other question, like how we do the performance metrics, right? So we have, definitely CPU RAM is good for server, but what about other parameters as well, right? So what we detect here is, let me quickly relog in. I'll quickly switch to in. And I will have my anomalies. I'll go to Jarvis anomalies. So here I can see like, when my system is going beyond like, this is how my system is behaving in terms of CPU utilization, and what are the anomalies that I'm able to see for what specific threshold. So we are able to detect these anomalies, and we are able to trace what are those reasons behind those anomalies. What is the reason for a specific anomaly to occur, right? It can be the file transfers of bigger size came in, or like maybe we are doing a lot of more processing. So we are able to use our traditional models to detect anomalies and use that with our LLMs to see, compare with our other data points, and we are able to find it out what is a specific reason behind those anomalies detections, right? Similarly, what we have is not just that, a lot of times, a specific errors came into our servers, right? Maybe it can be something like a SFTP server errors or something like that. So what we have is we have a proper recommendation based upon our knowledge catalog that we have built for different Sterling errors that we have in our catalog and in our database. So what we did is we are able to build our models and train our models for those specific errors, and we are able to provide a proper recommendations. And it's not just a recommendation, it's also taking a feedback back from whether this is a helpful or it doesn't work, so we can retrain our system on this specific different error message or different logs that we are doing. Not just that, like if I want to make sure my system will behave in a proper way, I have my predictions in place. For example, what I'll do is I'll do a RAM prediction so if I want to see how my system will behave for next 1 hour, I can see that how my system or different metrics of my system will behave for next 1 hour. So this is where we can see if my system will be available or will not be available to handle, because suppose some partner said, hey, can you process these many files, and you are in outage and you want to process a large set of files for a partner. You want to make sure you have enough resources available. So you can see when your system is very least used, so you can process those at that particular time. So this is one of the another way. Also, one question has been asked if we can do a automate kind of performance metrics there. So yes, so we ran one of our health check and we are able to find it, and model is able to tell like, hey, how many current threads are configured and how much is preferred to be configured, what is recommendations there. So we are able to find it out on our performance side, what are missing pieces and what are the better recommendation for those missing pieces. So this is all on what anomaly, system tuning, performance, what are different metrics that we can do. So I'll pause here and give some time to wind up the call.
Yeah, great questions. I know we're reaching the time. So one question that came in, what additional skill set is required for the team with this product? And second part of that question, for these anomalies, can the admin override the anomalies ahead of time, say if it was expected volume, say a one-time request? So based on that data, can we kind of do some ad hoc anomaly detection?
So if we wanted to, so there is two set of things. One is, if we want to set us for a particular partner and we are like, hey, for this, it's an error or it's a, kind of a anomaly. And if we want to have just a warning trigger, so we can even configure those trigger. And if we want to pause it for sometimes, we can pause those specific things for sometimes. So we can configure those alerts for those anomalies. So.
And I think one of the part of the question was, what skill set the customers require. So I did answer one question around, Watsonx Orchestrate and the skills. So we have built intellectual property around the skills that are required for Orchestrate to make sure that we're not seeing issues with patterns and data that may not be true coming from Watsonx. So we've invested in training and testing those models. So you can use the out-of-the-box capabilities, or we can work with you for training so you can customize that towards your use cases. And I think one of the questions is since we weren't able to show the demo up front, Pavi, can we at least look at the IANN chatbot? One of the questions is what does the portal look like for customers interacting with the system? So the way I answered that is Partner Engagement Manager sends an email, and that email gives a customer a portal with kind of a top-down approach to saying, here's what I need you to do to complete the onboarding steps. PEM gives you the visibility into those steps. Some of the feedback we receive from customers on PEM is the user experience isn't great. So what you're seeing here can be completely skinned to your customer's profile. This is the portal they'll see. And all this is customized. So whether you want to make onboarding activities available for them, they interact with IANN or the Watsonx chatbot to interact with those. So as you click that button, you'll see it says things like partner onboarding, partner maintenance, et cetera. You can also make available, and this is all configurable, if they want to check file status themselves. So once they're enabled through multi-factor authentication and we know who the user is, you can ask questions about their file status and reprocess those files automatically, like you can do with My File Gateway. So all of these are customized. If you don't want customers to report on file status, you can certainly make that remove that from one of those options. So I think that was that use case. But does that kind of what your understanding is kind of from some of the business requirements and the skill set required, Pavi, to be able to run this? We've made it easy with that Ian chatbot.
Yeah, that's right. So, it's easy to configure because we already have integrations being created. So on the integration side, you don't have to do anything or, the setup. So we can do those configurations and it's just ready to plug and play. So, just like how we do a chat conversation or we do browse over the internet, it's just like similar way we will do a conversation with Ian. And the other portals that I showed you is just also, just like, hey, I want to generate EDI or I want to, do a daily fix. And you can see I can just provide a prompt or I can just provide what fixes I want to do. So it's just pretty straightforward for all of these different activities. And even in file GPS that I showcase you different anomalies and all, right? So it's just all different menus that they will have different places to see different things based upon their user roles they are. So they can perform all these things just right from the screen. So on the technical, I don't, if they know Sterling and those are the one who will be doing system tuning performance. But for the business, it's pretty simple and right straightforward to come in and start doing this stuff. So
great. So thank you, Pavi. Thank you for the great questions. I'm going to quickly wrap us up here. And I think as kind of evident in the demo that we've seen today and some of the great questions that we see, there are a lot of customization that's required. So we want to make sure this is tailored to your business and your use cases. We've taken what we believe to be the most common pain points in the system and built out of the box processes. But we absolutely know that these are customizations that are required. And we want to standardize around your best practices. So kind of in summary, some of the things that you've seen around Pragma Edge's Ian capabilities is around that partner integration, anomaly detection, scalability. Hopefully you've seen how this can drive improve customer and partner satisfaction, not only your external partners, but your internal line of business users. It certainly is a competitive differentiator. No one else offers this in the market currently. And certainly with your competition, you can provide more reliable services over your competitors, really speeding that cash to order or order to cash scenarios on getting those partners in production quicker. So another great question popped up: will performance tuning go deeper into more of the BPQs? And absolutely, we are pulling all kinds of data from the Sterling system in very specific metrics that all can be used for both pattern anomaly detection, but also recommendations on best practices for tuning. So let's reach out to us for more details. And that's a great segue. I want to thank you all for your time today. Please schedule some time with us, 30 minutes or a free demo, free conversation with us. Let's talk about your use cases. We want to hear from you. This stuff is exciting. So we really want to work with you on these use cases, whether you become a customer of ours or not. It's great connecting with you all. Reach out to myself, ryan.wood@pragmaedge.com. You can also reach us at sales@pragmaedge.com. Pavi's information there as well. So we'll be looking forward to hearing from you all. Look out for a newsletter for everyone that signed up today. We'll provide a link of the recording and we'll keep you posted what's new in the Sterling universe. I want to thank you for everybody for your participation today, the great questions that came along, and thank you, Pavi, for that demo. With that, we'll go ahead and conclude the conversation. Oh, go ahead, Pavi.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing, like, the initial one, I think Watsonx service is down. So what we can do is for that specific one use case for, that we are not able to show today. So we can send the recording out for that specific so everyone can have a look of that use case as well. So.
Good deal. Thank you, Pavi. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of the day.